All right, guys, welcome back to another podcast. Today, I was 30 minutes late, not intentionally. It was, like I said to Juliet before, uh, I was ready. I was at home all morning, and I don't know why, but I do this thing where whenever I have these like podcast interviews or like anything, I just seem to create all these things that I need to do. I don't really need to do them, but I start doing them before the thing. And I think it's a anxious thing, to be honest. Like, I'm not anxious right now. I'm super chill. But prior to it, I was like, yeah, I was probably a bit anxious. And I think I do that to, get rid of the feeling that I have. But look, in saying that, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you guys. I actually feel the exact same way. Like sometimes I get like nervous before things like this, like and it's live and everything. But yeah, I was kind of doing the same thing. I was doing all these like random things to like prepare. I was like trying to like dance around and like get the nerves out. But now like I feel chill on the call. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's
that's
good.
basically it.
You're in a good spot because, like, obviously this like podcast, it's not targeted just about ADHD, but obviously, like, me being who I am and the people who follow and watch, they totally understand, and you can just be your true self and be. I always say to people, own your weirdness, and I feel like when you do that, it sets you free. And the reason it sets you free is because when you're trying to not be weird and who you truly are, you're running yourself down and feeling really not you. So you're constantly trying to be someone you're not. And yeah, just be yourself here today, and let's just have a cool chat. So I guess I may as well ask straight off the bat, like, what's going on with you, and like, what are you doing right now with everything?
So I originally like it's kind of like a backstory. So I originally started out like at a business school in Orange County. I'm from New York. And then COVID hit. I went back to New York, which was like the worst place to be during COVID in the US. And I had to like reevaluate what I was doing. So I was just not really that happy there. And like the classes were really expensive. And, I just wanted to reevaluate. So I decided to go to like an audio engineering school. And I was originally like pursuing like a songwriting and like singing like career. But I
Yeah.
just wanted to be multifaceted in my like industry. So basically then I started going to music school out in LA and started releasing songs as like a singer-songwriter, and then had like a mentor that really helped me in the studio, who also helped me find my sound. And then now I'm like a singer-songwriter, producer, on audio engineer. So I've been releasing like my own tracks on my own.
Far out. That's amazing. And I should have explained before I asked you a question, like what you do. So you are a singer-songwriter, and you're very good at that as well. And, you know, thanks for sharing that, because it just shows that sometimes in life when you're not happy, it's because you're not doing what you really want to do. And I feel like you found what you want to do and what you're really good at. And some of the songs that I've heard, I'm not going to lie, I haven't heard all of them, but I've heard a lot of them. And they're awesome. So good on you. And before I forget, because I always forget things, I've got to put my hand up and admit that. There's one song and it's called Misfit. Is that correct? Or you wrote it for Misfits? Is that right?
I don't think that's me,
No, 100%.
but
I just seen it before as well. You said I wrote this song for the people. No, 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 not Misfits. I wrote this song for the people who feel misunderstood. Is that right?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant like for like an artist called Misfit.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
no, it's
no.
for the people.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah, yeah. So
yeah, explain. Yeah, you can explain it if you want. I was like, wait, did I say something wrong here? No, it's all good. It's all good.
no, sorry, I misinterpreted that. That's my
No, it's
mistake.
fine. It's all good.
So this is my most recent single. Usually my singles are a little bit more like intense, talking about like emotions that are hard for like for anyone to talk about, including me.
Yeah,
And it was just talking about like being like hurt and or just expressing like what it feels like to be like an outsider, but like more in like an intense way, like where you're like gonna be thinking about it after. So like my most recent single, I was just like embracing like who I was and trying to make it like a self like confidence type of like track, where it's
yeah,
like you could listen to the car and you're like, oh yeah, like I feel cool now or something like that. Like, but yeah, it was like for the people like who feel misunderstood. and just to be like, okay, like this is me, this is who I am, and like I love myself for that, no matter what. Like just to pursue what makes you happy, and it was kind of also my own song to like feel more confident about myself, like in the process. But like it was super cool to see my fans' reactions already, like and how like they like even one person like it was the whole point of my like release for this to happen. She was like, "This completely changed my mood," and I was like, that was like my goal. It was super cool.
That's awesome. I love when, people appreciate what you do. It's actually a good feeling because I don't know what it's like for you, but for me, sometimes I forget that there's so many people who are watching what I do. And because my brain, if I don't control it, is always worried about what I can do next, I don't actually sit
Thank
and
you.
appreciate what happens. And, for you to say that as you were speaking, I was listening, of course, but I was also thinking far out like, people do appreciate what I do as well. So the fact that we can both do that for people, which is make them feel seen and not so alone, because a lot of people do feel alone, is it's such an awesome thing. I want to ask you, and it might be a bit of a deep question. What does it feel like for you to feel misunderstood?
I feel ostracized. I feel alone. It also makes me like talk down on myself, and I just get really in this spot where I'm like, oh, why am I not good enough? Like I should do this to be good enough. Blah blah blah, and it's just really isolating. And like as like a human, like just in general, like how we're wired, it's like you're supposed to have like human interaction and like get along with people, but it's like when you feel like you don't have anyone around to be there for you, it just like for me it makes me feel like I'm just not good enough, or like it's there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. Do you feel?
And
Do you believe you're good enough?
I've definitely progressed like with my own like self-love journey. I mean, now I feel like good enough
Yeah.
because I've just been working so hard. Like I've just been focusing on my like stuff. Like it's still something like I struggle with, but yeah, I'm really proud of myself, and I've really been working on that because I realized that was like my main problem. And it's really hard like to because it's a habit you build with your mind, like, and you just get used to it. It's really hard to snap out of it.
Agreed and well said. Like it's so true. It's a habit. Like it's a belief that we've, you know, kept from our childhood. Because for me, and I always say for me because I don't want to use anyone else as an example, but for me, I felt so lost, alone. uh there was people there, but I felt like there was no one there. I felt like I just didn't feel a part of anything, and like, to feel like that, it's not a good feeling. So you're right. It's something that we believe and we continue to believe until we break it. So what you just said is very true, and I thank you for that, because like a lot of people listening will relate to what you just said. Even me, I was going to be like, I was like, gave me some goosebumps and stuff. So no, it was cool. So thank you so much for that. You said, quote me if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. You said something along the lines of as you start to work more on yourself. Is that right? You said that? What are you doing
Yeah.
to like be the best version you can be and break from those habits?
One thing I knew this was already like proven somehow, like scientifically, like working out, like
100%.
just get and like getting up in the morning, like not sleeping like too late, like because I always feel like my day's ruined after that. And then just I have like a whole like planner book that I write like on paper, like everything I need to do. It really helps me organize my thoughts because otherwise it's really overwhelming and then I just get nothing done. So like I'll just write everything out, and then like checking it off like makes me feel good. And just also like being okay with being by myself, like
Mm.
not having to be around people to feel happy. Like I've been working on that too. I think just
Do
being
you live on
happy
your
with
own?
myself.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you live
Yeah.
on your own? Yeah, me too. And that's I'm relating to a lot of things you're saying, and it's only been like a couple of minutes we've been talking, so it's really cool. Um, So sorry, I just wanted to ask if you're on your own, because like, yeah, when I like, sometimes I don't think before I speak, and I know it's an ADHD thing, but it's rude and I don't like to do it, and I just did it. So I want to say sorry. So yeah, you're
You're
saying,
good. Literally
What are you
The
saying?
reason like I followed like your page is I was like looking at like your posts and I was just like this is dope. Like no one's really like put it into like perspective like that where it's like it was super relatable. And I was just like, wow, like I never see like people post about that stuff. And I was like, it makes me feel better that someone else like is dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, it blows my mind how many people are relating to it. And I haven't even really like gotten to a point where I'm starting to get like, bored of it, or like I sometimes question myself. I'm like, are people gonna keep relating to everything? But like, I'm not gonna lie, they do. And I'm like, what the hell? We must all be like somewhat very similar. And it's like, it's so crazy. But enough about me. I really want to ask you, like, get to know, like, how, like, about you and what, you're up to and stuff. And, I think being on your own is it's like learning to live on your own, be on your own. If you can do that, you will be able to do most things in life because it can be very hard. What's the hardest thing you
I
find
agree.
living on your own?
I think it's kind of like it's just like it's up to me like on my own to get everything done. There's no one there like I don't know influencing me, so it's just like up to me and like also like how good my mental health is and like how well I'm gonna do. It's not really like you have your own support system, like you are your own support system, which I think like is really good when you're trying to work out things like what we're talking about. But sometimes it's just like also getting outside. Like sometimes I'll just be on like my computer, like working on music for hours. And I won't go outside for like 2 days or like 3 days. And I'm like, this is not good for me. Like, I mean, I
No,
used to do that. I don't really like, not anymore. I've like been breaking away from that. But that's also a struggle. And also, like, living alone can be like lonely sometimes, or it used to be more. I guess like that was more of the past, but I've like learned to like change my perspective on everything. Cause I also like having the freedom of like working on music whenever I want, or you know, not
yeah,
having anyone there to like tell me what to do.
100%. I live on my own too. It's the best thing in the world. Like I've tried to live with people. It's not like I can do it, but I don't like it. I just don't feel right. I feel like,
I get it.
yeah, like I can tell because what you're saying is like once again relating to what I do. So you can just be free and write music and not feel like someone's around, even though the person who potentially could be living there, they're not going to do anything to you. But like it's just that space. You need that freedom. And for me also, like I have like a few rooms, like I got like two bedrooms and like living room and all the rest of it. If I have an idea, I get up, I film it. There's no one here. I don't have to tell anyone be quiet or I'm just going to do this. And like, it's just like free space. And I love it so much. And also something that I related to as well is the loneliness. For me, I'm good now. Like there is times where I can get super lonely and I feel like this sadness of like something in my stomach. Like it's just like this emptiness. Yeah, you get that too.
Yeah. Like it's like it always like I feel like for different people it's in different like places like on their body because I feel like it's also a physical thing. Like here it's like right in my chest. Like some of my friends say like it's like it feels like a weight on their shoulders, but yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I
this
mean?
yeah, no, I do know what you mean because for me because I have like a coach who helps me with my, child healing, if that's what we call it. And he always says to me, like, where do you feel that pain that we're talking about in the moment? And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, here. And I'm like, in my shoulder. Like one day it was like in my shoulder. But like this is like, some people understand this conversation, some people won't. Um, Trauma is in the body, like it's in the body, and trauma doesn't need to be like a death or like something. It just could be anything that was traumatic for whoever it was at the time. It's inside of us, and until we heal that, which you obviously, I'm sure you're aware of all this. The way you're talking, I'm starting to realize that you get it. It's all through our bodies, and that's why we feel pain in certain places. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's crazy to conceptualize that. Like it was hard for me to like think about it because a lot of people like or I don't know about a lot of people, but like I guess some people like their interpretation of like depression isn't something physical, it's more mental, but it's also physical. which can be a misconception.
100%. Do you believe in, like, I believe in clinical depression. I think, wait, let me start again. Like, if
I do
you're,
too.
yeah, I believe in clinical depression, but I think if you're like depressed, I don't know if it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say without saying the wrong thing. I think
Mhm.
if like there's something up that, doesn't give you any other option, like you're depressed, like that's not what I'm talking about. That's that's out of their control, out of anyone's control. But also people
Definitely.
who say I'm depressed, yeah, we all get depressed at times, but I feel like what I'm trying to say is, do you believe a lot of people cause their own depression because like they're not doing anything to be better and try and get out of the sadness that they're in? Do you believe, like, does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I've also like from my own experience, because I also struggle with depression sometimes,
Yeah.
is kind of like you're fighting against yourself. Like there's like two like sides of you, like one side that wants you to win, one side that just wants you to like stay in bed and do nothing and like feed off of that feeling because it feels easier. This is me personally. Or it's like it's too hard to fight. Like the voice, like the dark voice, kind of like the negative voice is like overpowering the positive one.
Mm,
So yeah, like I've definitely self like sabotaged. Like at certain points I wasn't getting anything done that I wanted and it felt terrible. Um I think that's like a part of depression. Like for some people, like breaking out of the habit of doing that is just like there's no guidance, there's nothing like they have like to hold on to. Like I just feel blessed. Like I have like good people around me, like and family like to help me as well. But I feel like when you have like nothing to like hold on to, it can be really hard. And yeah, I think it is self-sabotaging.
100%. I think, for people like you and me, we're blessed because we do have something that we can look forward to every day. You creating music, me creating content. Blessed, absolutely blessed. Like I wake up every day and I'm so excited, and I truly mean that. For others, I believe most of the time when they say they're depressed, it's because they don't have something to look forward to. If I wasn't doing content, I don't know where I'd be, because I always say this. There was a point in time when I believe content was one of the main reasons it kept me here today, because I was like, I was busy, I was focused. I was going through a really horrible time, but I still had that excitement of creating something. And yeah, that was cool. I was a bit skeptical of how to say what I was trying to say, because sometimes I can say things that I know in my head are what I believe, like what I'm trying to say, but they don't come out the right way. And I was like, geez, I hope I don't like screw this up. But I'm glad that we got through that. Um, for this is what something really cool that I like about you as well, that you live in LA. And the reason I like that is because it's been on my vision board for since I was 17, so 10 years. I've always wanted to go there. What's it like living in LA? Because I know that it's very like, the influencer place to be and all the rest of it.
So I moved here 2 years ago, like completely off a whim. It was it taught me so much living here. I mean, just a completely different type of person, I guess like you could say culture compared to New York. And the people were a lot different. It was like I just met all these creatives, like influencers, all that. It was really inspiring. Like, 'cause I met a lot of people who were also like more successful than me. And I was just like, I hope to like be like that. And it was also just like the experiences I had also created more, I guess you could say, like content for my music writing as well. Like experiencing like what a lot of artists talk about in their songs and not really understanding like, oh, what they're talking about, like when it in regards to LA, and then going there and being like, this is what they were saying. Like
Yeah.
it was just really cool. Like so many people talk about it in music and it actually helped me understand a lot of music I like more. Like and there's so many the reason why it's so cool is just, like, everyone goes there to, like, pursue their dreams, and everyone can, like, undoubtedly, like, be themselves completely, and no one's really coming to judge you for that. Like, actually, you're considered more cool if you're more of an individual, and I think that's also really rare to find a place that's like that. There's a lot of people, like, are, like, scared of someone who, like, goes off the, like, trajectory or the path that everyone else has been doing, and it's been really cool to meet so many people that are kind of like free spirits.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. I got to say something really funny. I was listening to everything you were saying, but when you were speaking, I had a drink, right? And I don't suggest people do this, but I drink Red Bulls like often, and I had a sip of my Red Bull, and some of it bounced out of the can, hit me in the eye, and my eye was stinging so much. And you were saying so many cool things that I'm just like, I'm trying to sit there and pretend it didn't happen. And oh my god, like it hurt so much, but like it's all good now. Oh, I was like, I couldn't interrupt you that time. I know that I can do it sometimes, but that time I was not interrupting because what you were saying was so good. So thanks for sharing that. I
Thank
gotta,
you.
do you like, this might seem a bit like random, but do you like consider yourself like to be dumb? And I don't like to use that word, but do you like, have you caught yourself in the past saying, oh, I'm so dumb, or I'm dumb?
Yeah, like for a very long time, like since I was a kid until like I think probably like over a year and a half ago, like I stopped doing that to myself. So I also read this book. It's called The Power of the Subconscious, and it talks about how like telling yourself that can make you like trip up, like actually, like because it's like telling yourself that you actually are like dumb or whatever that means.
Yeah.
And I like had grown up like was never the kid who paid attention in class. Like I had the smarts, but I didn't have the motivation. I just didn't really care. Like
Mm,
when I was younger, and the only thing I was really passionate about was math when I was younger. But anyway, like it was also just like people like just like I was like bullied for being whatever like dumb when I was younger. Like just because like I would be like the type who would like daydream and like not really like always be like in the moment. I kind of be like in my own head.
mm,
And it was hard for me to like move on from that because it made me feel like I was actually dumb. Like, and I was just like, what's wrong with me? Like, and that was before I got diagnosed with ADHD, like just getting super distracted by all this stuff. Like
mm,
anything, literally anything, like around me, like would just distract me from getting my work done. And I was just like, maybe I am dumb or something. And then later on, like I processed it more, but it ties back into being like misunderstood, where it was like certain people just like to label others like off the bat, and it has nothing to do with you personally. That's why it's something else I had to learn. Like it's like no one makes up their behavior for you. It's the way that they're like processing emotions. And um yeah, I mean it was something else that like just being in class and feeling like I'm not like everyone else there, like it just seemed so easy for them to like pay attention to the whole class, and I would just be like, wow, I'm really
mm.
dumb.
Yeah, I
But
know.
no, yeah, like that's basically it. But I feel like way smarter because I like accomplished so many things I wanted to do, like learning like different like production softwares. Like I'm on Pro Tools and Ableton now. Like I just like that makes me feel like smart. Like I actually can do it. It's only like when you tell yourself that you're stupid is that you're holding yourself back.
100%. And, you know, the reason why I asked you that is because the way you speak, you're not dumb at all. And I used to think the same as well. I used to think I was dumb. I got told that I was dumb because of the grades I had. And I'm going to be real. I could find them if I really needed to, but I don't know where they are at the moment. All my grades were like Kick off if you need to talk. It's super chill, but yeah, like I was just like I felt the same. Like I felt like I just was so disconnected from anything that had to do with school. Like I felt like I felt like fuzziness in my head, like and like a weird feeling when I would try and do any sort of test. Like I truly believe that I never ever passed a test throughout my whole schooling life. Like from the age of like from kindergarten, we didn't do tests then, but from whatever age I was able to do them all the way through, I never passed. Always failed. I was in special needs. I got told that, was a good kid but needs to try harder. Got good kid but just is a class clown. Like that's who I was, and I know even still to like that's what I mean. But we're not dumb. Look at what we're doing
No.
right now. Look at what is going on. We're two people who grew up believing that they were dumb, and we're making moves in the world and we're helping others. You don't need to be a social media person or a songwriter to be successful either. You can do whatever you want to do, but so many of us go through life just believing that we're not worthy. And I still have so many limiting beliefs with myself, money being one. I really believe that I'm not I struggle to ask anyone for money. And I don't mean like, hey, can I borrow some money just because I want to borrow money? I mean like selling something, like, or telling someone that I deserve this much for a show, or hey, how much would it cost for you to promote my company? And I get like this like fear and this pain that's inside of me that I'm scared to say what I truly believe I'm worth. And that's one of my beliefs that I'm trying to break at the moment. So that's the first time I've ever spoken about that. So it's pretty cool that I was able to do that with you. So thanks for that. It's pretty random.
Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate that. I totally relate to that. It's something like I've been thinking about recently, because I just try to like constantly like come to like a point of like where the issue is at. Because I know like sometimes when I wake up, I'm just not feeling good, and I'm trying to like pinpoint what the issue is. And like for me, it's like sometimes I'm just like holding myself back. Like I know all the things I have to do, and I know it won't be that hard, but there's something like inside me that's just like self-sabotaging myself, or like feeling like I'm not worthy of doing this, or it gets so overwhelming. And like it's something like just even like being able to pinpoint it is like the first step, I feel like, to like improving that. And yeah, it's hard sometimes.
It's really hard. It's for me, recently I came to a realization that it all goes back to my inner child. Everything that I'm battling within myself is my inner child screaming for help. And because me now, like who you're talking to right now, I know who I am, but younger me doesn't know who I am. And I'm in a constant battle of reminding him that I'm here, because I don't do that enough. And when I don't do that, that's when things for me can go a bit crazy, because he feels alone. And I feel like that's what most people with ADHD don't realize, that the answer isn't medication. The answer isn't getting an app that the system's trying to tell you that it's going to cure your ADHD with. It's actually within you.
Yeah.
And that's scary to face. Your pain inside of you is so scary to face. So yeah, there we go. It's just like,
I agree. It's like nothing left to rely on except for yourself.
100%. Even speaking about it, I get like, I feel like this, I'm okay. Like I'm not going to cry. Like I probably am. I'm trying not to, but I'm trying. Like I'm like a bit emotional, but like, yeah, like I just get really like, I just feel that, even though like I've been aware of it, every time I speak about it, it just like my whole body's just really warm right now. And because it's such a true statement, but a scary statement as well, that I don't think many people are aware of. And I feel like, for you and me, we have the capability to share this with people. And I'm not saying you need to go on your phone and record and say, hey, everybody, getting your inner child work on, like, but just through what you're doing with your music and everything, it's really cool. And, I'm just, the more I do these podcasts, because I don't really do podcasts with people who I don't believe like are like me, not exactly like me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, who won't like?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like I'm here.
I mean, me neither. This is my first podcast.
You've killed it.
Like there's supposed
Yeah, you've done so well. Like, yeah, I didn't know that. Is it really your first podcast?
Yeah, I
Far
was
out.
really scared. I'm like,
I could tell, but you know why? Because I sometimes feel like that too, and I have to remind myself every podcast, you've done this before, you've done this before, it's all good, you've done this before, and now I feel like you've absolutely like killed it. And what I mean by that is, if you don't understand, you've done like so well, and it's totally normal to feel
thank
like
you.
that. And I was so not aware that this was the first one you've ever done, so I must say thank you for doing that. Did you feel like, now you feel good now though, yeah? Like you're comfortable now? Yeah.
No, I feel really good. Like I'm just like the way I put it into perspective was just like, oh, just like having a conversation with someone. And now I can be like open with people, like just what you said, like not really knowing who you are. And it's like back then, like it was hard for me to share anything about myself because I wasn't fully like I hadn't figured out myself completely. Or just be like a lot more difficult when there wasn't something to like I hadn't come to the full realization of like who I was. And I'm still on that journey. But now that like I have certain things to like say, like that was through my own like mental health journey, it's been cool actually doing this. Like I was scared at the beginning, like before the call, I was scared.
That's good. That means you care about like
But
yourself and what you're doing as well. Because like if you didn't care, like you wouldn't be worried, you know what I mean? And anxious and stuff like that. It's really cool. I think you're helping more people doing what you've done today than you understand. Like, for example, like this will go in because I always like just I could upgrade the Zoom call, but I just leave it at 45 minutes. It's only got 5 minutes left, and what I do is I
mhm.
upload this into my Patreon, and then I cut clips from. Well, I don't do it. My editor will do it. He'll cut clips from this chat, and he'll put it on Instagram. Like I'll put it on Instagram. So there's so
Me
many
too.
things. Yeah, I'll get it done today, to be honest, and I'll pass it over to you. But there's so many things that you said that so many people are going to relate to, and I think without me realizing, we spoke some really, really, really cool things and some deep stuff as well. So once again, thank you so much for coming on today. Is there anything like you want to say before we finish off? Just anything at all about where they can find you, like new music coming out, a bit of encouragement, anything like that?
Like just like my ads and stuff, like
Yeah.
or
Where can they find you on like Instagram and
okay.
stuff?
Okay, so my Instagram is at Juliet.Callahan, and that's also my TikTok page as well. And then you can find me on all streaming platforms. It's in my bio, all the different links you can use to stream my music. And my music is out on everywhere, on all platforms. And I have 6 singles out. I have another one coming up soon. I'm moving to New York actually, at the end of this month. So it'll probably be like end of January or
Yeah,
end
awesome.
of February. Okay, I probably should have done
No,
that
no,
over.
no, it's
I
fine.
messed it
No,
up.
no, it's totally fine. Like, don't just be yourself. I was just like, when I listen on podcasts, I feel like it's something that, like, because when I listen, I really listen, because like when I don't connect with people, I'm there, but I'm like, yeah, but like, because I'm talking to you, I don't realize that I'm like probably just like staring at you, like looking at you really, but like, I don't know, just be you. And thank you so much for being you. I'm going to end this now as
There's one more
well.
thing I wanted to say
Yeah, go,
is
go.
like, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. Like the reason why I even agreed to do this, because I get like shy on camera sometimes, is like because I had been following your content and I just knew like just from what you posted, like it's just like a no judgment zone and you're just really like accepting of people and like that's what made me feel comfortable to go on this. So thank you.
I gave you the goosebumps and I went, yeah, thank you so much. I'm trying not to cry, I promise. But no, anytime. I'm glad that you were able to do this, and I'm just like, for me, it just makes me realize that what I'm doing is it's worth it. And there's so many more of us out there who are no judgmental. You know what I'm trying to say. We're all here. We care about each other, and I'll speak to you real soon. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was dope.
It was
Bye.
definitely dope.